Huh. Hey,
How is everyone?
doing well. Is that you, Jimmy?
I'm all right. I'm trying to figure out why I can't be seen.
You're gonna be my timekeeper, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like we've got a quorum. Who's not here yet?
Linda Fobb, are you on the line?
I am.
So Catherine, we don't have Lewis yet or Chris.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna show up here in just a moment.
Are you home, Catherine?
Yes, I am.
Looking in the background thing, she's back.
Glasses and
Quick trip.
Yes, it was a quick trip to Colorado.
How was the weather?
It was wonderful. It was like 45 degrees overnight and like 72 maybe during the day. You're in
That
my
sounds
heart.
horrible, Catherine. That's
You
horrible.
probably were in the mountains of Colorado, right? You're probably
Yes.
above 9,000 feet.
Well, I was above 10,000 feet.
Wow. That's high.
sounds glorious.
Yeah, my brother does not
down a little
have
bit.
electricity or he's got propane and he has a solar panel. So so you have to be very
He's living off the
What are
grid.
you gonna
he's
get?
living off the grid. That's right.
Right
So
here.
you have to be very careful about your
Here's Louis.
power
Why
usage.
are we not on video?
Now, Lewis, where are you?
Jimmy, you're the one that sits it up.
That's a virtual background. That's the aftermath of Katrina in New Orleans. I was showing
Wow.
it. I'll change it. It's pretty awful.
Yeah, it is. Because that
I was
would
about to say, and now we go live to Lewis Cervigon.
It's not covered. It's there. I
oh,
don't know
that's
what's
much
going on.
better. That's much better. Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know
That's-
why.
That's where we all want to be, where you are, Lewis. Okay, we're still waiting for Chris.
Yeah, I don't see Chris yet.
Okay, let's.
What about Jana? Oh yeah, Jana's on.
Jana's here.
And who else is on? I see Beth. Who?
We
What's
got
it?
Linda and Sarah.
Okay. And who's,
Somebody new. I don't recognize you.
who's Jan? Jan, who are you?
Hi.
Jan Riles, my last name is Riles.
Hi. Okay, I finally have a face to put with the name.
Right, and same for me. Let me put that on there, Riles. There you go.
I don't
I
know.
just text Chris.
Jan, could you introduce yourself, please? This is
Um,
Louis.
Jan Riles, I've lived here for almost 4 years, and I've been in Austin for 22 years.
Are you associated with an HOA or?
I don't know.
No, she lives next to Rose.
Do you want to pull your one and see
You're the lady
how
that lives next to Rose. Okay.
Lucky me.
Now it
for
all
some
makes
reason
sense.
Okay. You know what? We're just gonna
Could
go
have done
ahead
it before, Jimmy.
and okay. So Jimmy and Dana, you can hear us. We just can't see you. Is that what?
Yeah, we have it on my Lenovo ThinkPad, and I think we're going to go ahead and see if it'll pick up on the Chromebook for some reason.
Okay, let me give you another moment to see if you can't get that resolved, and then I will, then I'm going to go ahead and start the meeting, and maybe in that time, Chris will show up.
Okay.
I printed out a
Just send
bunch.
him a text.
I printed out a bunch of stuff, but I did not print out the agenda, so we're gonna have to do a share screen for that.
Okay, well, somebody else can share it because I've got it up on another computer, and
Yeah, Bill can do it.
yeah.
Or I can just move to another computer, so I'll have two computers up. Let me do that.
We're having two computers going at the same time also, so.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna move over to my other computer. Luckily, I can take the beach scene with me.
Yes, yes, you're walking on the beach there, I can tell.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm going to the other
I'll
room.
turn this one off.
Louis, I think you forgot to invite a few friends for that trip.
Yeah, but you know, we're all supposed to be social distancing, so.
And also
Tell me when you got it up.
I'm in self-isolation for 15 days.
What?
Yeah.
Ouch. Sorry.
Hey, I can see Jimmy.
There we go. We've got two computers going too.
The cheapest computer is the one that's working.
Yeah, I know. I've had in situations with the car where it was the beater was the only one that would work during the snowstorm.
Okay.
Okay, well, I guess it is time. We're gonna, since we just got we've got a quorum, I'm gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. And I'm gonna remind everybody that Jimmy's gonna be our timekeeper. Okay, so Linda, let's start with you. Did you want to make a public comment?
Yes, please.
And did you have any specific agenda items that you wanted to talk about?
Yes, item 2, 3, and 6.
2, 3, and 6. Okay, and Sarah, did you want to make a public comment?
I do, just a public comment today.
Okay, no agenda items. Okay, and Beth, did you want to make a public comment?
I don't have to. There's one that I would say, but it's not. If we need no.
Okay, you
Cross
sure?
me out today.
Okay.
Go ahead. I will. You know what? Let me warn everybody and let everybody know.
Okay,
Yes,
I'm gonna make a
put me on
public
there for a
comment.
minute and a half.
Okay, and then Jean, you're gonna make a public comment?
Am I sure?
Okay, if you want to make a public comment, did you want to talk about? Did you want to make talk about a specific agenda item?
Number 3.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so we're going to start with Linda Fobb, and we're going to have 2 minutes for our public comments and 2 minutes for our agenda items. So Linda, let's start with your public comment.
Thank you, Catherine. Facts matter. When Jimmy or Diana Sagnas have direct contact with residents, turmoil ensues every time, and the reason is clear. They are not truthful. Every member of this board was presented with this concern 7 months ago, along with overwhelming evidence that demonstrates the dishonesty of this contractor. How many more examples do you need before you'll stand up for the people you were elected to serve? Your resolution directing SAGE to call law enforcement on residents if they obstruct a sidewalk is not their responsibility. They are contracted for deed enforcement, not law enforcement. You've taken the overreaching step of adopting a resolution to have SAGE engage law enforcement when the deed is not strong enough to support your interpretations or not supported by the deed language at all. Yet on June 25th, a resident of Anderson Mill West announced on social media, and I quote, "I spoke to SAGE management employee who was making his rounds, and he said very directly, they will not be calling the police. They will be leaving a note if they do anything at all. He has spoken with the sheriff department, and they also prefer that SAGE MUD approach the homeowner or leave a note rather than call the police. So I think the policy is dead on arrival, but also completely ridiculous to begin with, and a bad move by the MUD board. I agree that this policy is dead on arrival, ridiculous, and a bad idea. Your contractor is admitting he's not going to do it. The resolution should be immediately overturned.
Okay. Agenda item number 2.
Inaccurate information, communications to residents to correct misstatements. The truth really matters, Catherine. On the MUD website, you have a published pandemic protocol for deed enforcement that claims code enforcement will continue day and night. You have no authority to enforce any codes. Your authority rests with real property deed restrictions. That's it. It goes on to say overnight parking tours will continue to ensure that streets remain accessible to emergency vehicles. If that statement were true, it would apply to all roadways. It does not. You are responsible for spreading misleading and inaccurate information. To add to the deceitfulness of that statement, during the June 17th meeting, Diana Sagnis remarked that people are beginning to ask when they will have to stop parking on the street overnight. That comment from Diana Sagnis confirms what I have been seeing consistently since March. Some residents have been allowed to park in the street overnight without any consequences, while others are being sued for the exact same violation. Your deed enforcement practices are inequitable and unjust.
Okay. Agenda item 3, management report from Sage.
On the report this evening, there are no fire pits and no chickens cited, although there are clearly reported violations, and both of them have been discussed in these DRC meetings. Catherine, I'm concerned that you and the Sagnises have not read the deed. There is no such thing as a properly sanctioned fire pit. It matters not what the fire marshal has to say about how efficiently one is constructed. There are no satisfactory requirements that can override the deed, except a majority vote of the property owners that are held to it. The deed for Section 17, Paragraph H of the covenant, entitled Hazardous Activities, it reads in part, "And no open fires shall be lighted or permitted except within safe and well-designed interior fireplaces or in contained barbecue units, which are attended and in use for cooking purposes only." I have reported 2 visible fire pits, Catherine. They both violate the hazardous activities section, which is not open to your interpretation. Gaslighting on the subject, claiming that the fire marshal sanctioned a fire pit, does not void the language in the deed that prohibits having one. What makes Megan Dudo's deed violation extra egregious is that not only did she use it during an open fire ban, which was the reason for the fire marshal's visit, her private organization has spent well over $70,000 of district revenue, ironically money collected from deed violation fines paid by her neighbors, because she professed to be knowledgeable in helping residents understand their deeds. Her fire pit violation demonstrates that she has no respect or understanding of fire safety or the deed that has gifted huge sums of money for her pet project. Her fire pit is the perfect example of her privilege. You defend her deed violation by gaslighting, just as you did with your own violation of the deed for over 3.5 years.
Time.
Okay. And number 6, report from the DRC.
I am hopeful that tonight's report from the DRC will include the old truck on Astor Pass, as it remains in violation of the deed. The deed is clear and states in section temporary structures, no racing vehicle or any vehicle without a current license plate shall be permitted to remain on any lot or be parked on a street adjoining a lot. It matters not that Jimmy claims he saw a license plate, because I've already demonstrated that Jimmy and Diana Sagnis do not tell the truth. This resident is enjoying the same privilege as Megan Dudo by not being required to abide by the no unregistered vehicles clause, and yet tonight's restrictive covenant enforcement includes 3 violations just like it on the list. That is not equitable. Jimmy adding that the gentleman is restoring the old truck in his driveway only makes this deed violation situation worse, because the deed's unsightly articles read, "And no repair or maintenance work shall be done on any of the foregoing or on any automobile other than minor emergency repairs, except in enclosed garages or other structures." This truck hasn't moved in well over 2 years. It is inoperable. It has no visible license plate. It has flat tires. It is in clear violation of the deed, and it has been well over a year since it was reported. What I care about is that special consideration, privilege, is given to your friends, while other residents are being harassed and even sued for identical violations. The truck is not a bother to me. It is this board and Sage Management's unethical and amoral practices that are. This truck and the fire pits are merely examples that I've selected to demonstrate inequitable deed enforcement and abuse of power by this MUD board. It doesn't end there, but it does highlight the corrupt practices of this board. Naked, unapologetic, and insidious.
Time.
Okay. Sarah Teal, you have a public comment.
I do. Tonight, the board will be voting on a resolution to set in place the characteristics of signage that will be allowed in our neighborhood. What they are doing may seem innocuous, but it is actually very concerning. Texas Water Code grants this MUD board the power to enforce legally recorded deed restrictions. It says a district may take all actions necessary to enforce a restriction, with a restriction defined as a limitation on the use of real property that is established or incorporated in properly recorded instruments. They have been granted the statutory authority to choose to either enforce the legally recorded deed restrictions or not enforce. That authority does not grant this board the power to create new deed restrictions or alter existing deed restrictions, which is exactly what the resolution they are presenting tonight is meant to do. If our neighborhood doesn't recognize this abuse of power for what it is, then tomorrow they could pass a resolution about the color of your front door, what flowers you're allowed to grow in your yard, or whether your kids can do sidewalk chalk in your driveway. It is time to rally together as neighbors and fight back against this board's abuse of power and their illegal actions that clearly fall outside of the above-mentioned authority that has been entrusted to them. To do that, each person who recognizes this dangerous injustice must take the time to cast a ballot to vote out the current board directors, Jana Norton and Chris Rocco, and instead vote for new MUD board directors who are willing to respect the people in our neighborhood, existing property rights, and state and federal law. Author Pat Miller writes in her book, Willfully Ignorant, the best way to take control over people and control them utterly is to take a little of their freedom at a time, to erode rights by 1,000 tiny and almost imperceptible reductions. In this way, the people will not see those rights and freedoms being removed until past the point at which these changes cannot be reversed.
Okay. And Beth Jones, you have a public comment.
Actually, I just want to share that I'm not sure that people are aware, so I'm just actually doing a courtesy that it has been shared that with COVID, with the numbers going up, that if you are in the park, they can fine you $250. It has not happened, so I don't want people panicking, but it is something that could happen at any time. So if they see a number of people in the park, yes, that is something that could happen. So I'm just doing this as a courtesy for everybody to know that it is important to self-distance and that they are trying everything that they can to keep people out of the parks. I know that Williamson County does not want to give out tickets, but if there is a handful of people in the park, that's probably going to happen. So just an FYI.
Okay, thank you, Beth. And Jean, good to see you.
This is my first time at one of these meetings, so I don't have anything prepared, but I just wanted to, check in and touch base and see where we are with the fencing issue with my neighbor.
Okay, so Bill, I'm going to throw this back over the fence to you and give us an update on where we are with the fence issue.
Yeah, actually, that's not been referred to legal.
Oh, it hasn't.
No, that's something I think Sage was going to recommend tonight.
Oh, okay. So I guess that tells us what's going on. So we're gonna, tell you what we're gonna do, Jean. I'm going to put your question aside, and I'm gonna have you make your make your comment about the management agenda number 3, the management report, and then we will jump right to the answer and start discussing that issue. How's that?
Okay. You want me to do that now?
Yeah, go ahead, and because you said you wanted to make a comment on agenda item number 3, the management report from Sage. And then once you've made that, you've made your comment on that agenda item, then I'll close the public comments, and then we will jump back into the discussing of what's going on with the fence issue.
Well, I guess it's been over a year now that we have 3 fences between our yard, and 2 of them broken, and leaning on the new fence that I've installed. And I've worked with you know, you and Sage with having the old fences removed, and just want to get to where they can be removed.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
Okay, so I'm going to close the public comments section portion of our meeting at this time. And what I want to do then is I'm going to turn this over to Jimmy and Diana, and let's start talking about where we are with the fence issue, and we can talk about it in more detail.
Catherine, before you do that, can I ask Chris Rocco, have you joined the call? Chris, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm here. I just got in late. Sorry.
Okay, I just want to name your call-in number so they can know it's you. All right, so Chris is here. Sorry.
Okay, so we're going to jump to, I guess we'll jump to the management report, and which is agenda item 3 right now, and let's talk about that. Okay, Jimmy and Diana.
Okay. I had a list of things that we're going to talk about, but since Jean's on here, let's go ahead and cover. We have 2 fencing issues to discuss. One was the butternut fence. The resident was given until June 30th to respond to the board or fix the fence issue. It was not repaired or removed at the deadline date, and we were just kind of wondering, I'm sorry, hold on, I've got someone moving stuff around here. Let me get it organized. Okay. The issue has been that where are we going to go with this on this fence on Butternut?
Right. Okay,
They've
so
done everything we can do, and the committee wanted to bring it to the board, whether or not they wanted to escalate it to legal.
okay, so just to bring everybody up to speed, it's been more than a year that Jean put a, people are moving around as I'm talking, that Jean installed a new fence between her and her neighbor, Rose Green. And Rose's fence was falling down, and Rose refused to allow Jean's contractors to remove the common fence. She insisted on having her broken fence stay. And I think Chris Rocco, you were there at the time, and I know Jimmy, you were there, and this turned into what I think we all were going to say. We don't understand why Rose is so upset about having her broken fence taken down. And so here we are a year later, and Jean is still frustrated because Rose's broken fence continues to be leaning against her brand new fence. And we've gone through the normal deed restriction process, and I think where we are, Louis, correct me if I'm wrong, is we're going to decide we're not going to go through a fining process. We're just going to throw this over the proverbial fence and ask that Bill send Rose a letter to say that her fence cannot continue to lean on Jean's property. You're on mute, Louis.
Okay, so under the procedures, we can move it to legal at any time. We don't have to have it lay out.
Right, exactly.
And so that's what the committee decided to do.
Right, so that's where we are right now. And so I'm going to go ahead and make the motion that we just give this to legal to start the process.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. So at this point, all we're talking about is a demand letter stating that you've got to fix your fence. Okay, so right now we're in conversation. We're in conversation. What I've talked about before with Jimmy and Diana is, I think that we can find people in the community who will take Rose's fence down without any cost to her, and that's really where I want this to end up, is that she will accept the community's help to take her falling down fence down at no cost to her. And if she decides she wants to put a new fence up and have it face the way she wants, she's more than welcome to do that. But at this point, we just want the broken 4x4s that continue to lean on the brand new fence to be removed.
And I don't know if I'm allowed to interject here, but there are actually 2 fences. There were 2 fences between our yard. So there are 2 broken fences leaning on my new fence.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There is a double row of pickets. Gina is very correct. So you've got one set of 4x4s and 2 sets of pickets on either side. The 4x4s have rotted away, and her double picketed fence is leaning against the brand new fence.
Let me interject, Catherine. You use the words fix the fence. The issue is not to fix or repair it. The issue is to remove it.
Yeah, what I'm hoping is that she will allow the community to help her remove her broken fence. I am confident that we can find some Boy Scouts who need service hours who will come in and remove the fence at no cost to Rose. That's what I'm really hoping is the solution here.
Let me add, one of the reasons we want to send this to legal is that we've had at least 2 incidents where she has gone after Jean and gone after Jimmy with her hose, hosing them down, screaming at them. And so that's just beyond the pale.
Okay.
I think the thing is she wants her fence. She wants her fence because it's her fence. So if this happens with her and we send this to legal and somebody else calls and they have an issue with their neighbor, are we going to send everybody with the fence problem to legal? I mean, that's my concern because, you know, I have neighbors real close to me that have fences that are falling down and their neighbors are saying, no way, I don't want to pay for half of it to put a new one up. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I think this different situation that we have right now is that the current fence that is in disrepair is actually leaning on somebody else's brand new fence and inhibiting their property. And it's going to, over time, it's going to destroy the brand new fence that Jean paid for 100%.
Let me add, Jana, you make a good point. We have here a situation where Rose's fence is not really a fence. It's sections that remain of a fence that used to be there, pieces of fence. And those pieces are incomplete. That is, there is no fence there. There's pieces of old fence that aren't even continuous.
Right.
So it's like not a stable fence at all. It's just parts of like the.
Yes. Yeah. So if you think about, you know, most people have 8-foot sections, you know, all the sections are unconnected, I think is the best way to put it.
You could call it archaeological detritus.
Okay. Do we have any, Chris, did you have anything that you wanted to add to this conversation?
Nope, y'all sounded like you've got it under control.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and call the vote. Louis,
Yes.
Art, you're on mute, Art. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Jana,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes too. Okay, so Jean, that's where we're going to start. We are finally moving forward, and hopefully Rose will come talk to us. Like I said, the solution that I think is going to be the best for everyone is for her to allow the community to help her. And Jimmy, you've said it in the past that you've got that you know numerous Boy Scouts, and so you think you're going to be able to find somebody who can help us with this.
Yes, but we do definitely would not touch 1 foot onto that property without her permission.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
And there may be a delay because of the COVID
Yes.
before we can,
Right.
engage you the troops on that.
Okay. Okay.
And I have a question, Gene. We heard about the one instance when she went after you and Jimmy with her hose. Was there more than one incident where she went after you with a hose?
There's just been the one incident. She has not, I mean, we don't speak. She just, we hardly see each other even. But I got on the step ladder to just look and see if the fence had been removed or, anything. And she came outside the back door screaming that she was going to squirt me with the hose and actually did it. It's like, what you gonna do?
So
Yeah.
next time you climb your ladder, you'll have to wear a poncho.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. What else? Okay, we finished with that topic. What else do we have? Why don't you just start at the top, Diana?
We had one other fencing issue, and we can go
Okay.
ahead and take care of it now.
Okay.
Back in October of 2019, the Valente Hills HOA asked Sage to help them with the fencing issue in Valente Hills on Cashel-Wood. We went ahead and started documenting the disrepaired fence, sent out fine letters. In January of 2020, Jimmy met with the resident and found out that he had submitted an ACC app to do that. And on I think it was March 31st, he asked us to appeal the fines based on his paperwork that he had submitted on February the 5th to ACC of Valente Hills HOA. We have now gotten a request from the Valente Hills HOA to become involved in this issue again, or actually they want the MUD to become involved. The ACC denied his request for that fencing project that he wanted, and they did not give him his denial until close to April, when he had submitted it on February the 5th. And Art, do you want to add to
You're
this?
on mute. You're on mute.
All I can add to that is that initially he said that it was past the 30 days, I think, but Sabrina said that the request to the ACC was not, was incomplete.
Was incomplete.
So
So the clock
Yeah.
never started.
So it restarted.
Well, he has a receipt that they got it and that they were going to review it for 30 days. And he did not, and he submitted that receipt. That's they did not tell him on the receipt that it was missing anything. So he wants to put up his fence and the HOA has denied it. And
Did
I
they
don't
deny it
know.
on, they deny it on the base of it being an incomplete packet, or did they deny it because
They didn't like, from what I understood from Sabrina, they didn't like what he wanted to do with the fence. He wants to put a wrought iron fence, and they did not like that. So they have not, in their paperwork that they gave him, they didn't tell him it was incomplete. They just told him in April that they were denying it, which he submitted everything February 5th, and he got a receipt from the HOA on February 5th.
Jeez. Okay, so now we're,
The first time it came to us and we waived his fines based on the ACC app was at the March meeting. And then on March 31st, he reached out to us again because he had not heard from Valente Hills at all.
What's the address? Can we provide that now? Or do we have to wait?
2804. 2804. So now,
Cashel Wood Drive, right?
and they want us to start the whole process again of giving him fine letters. And Bill, I don't know where we are on that because he's under the impression that he did his part with the ACC and.
It's 2804 Cashel Wood Drive, correct?
Yes, 2804.
okay, so let me see if I can do a sit rep on what we think the situation is. We have a resident who submitted to the ACC to put up a fence. He has a receipt that they received it. It was denied, and he's saying it doesn't matter that it's been denied because you went past 30 days. And they're saying that, and the HOA is saying the clock never started because your application was incomplete.
Yes. And
Okay.
but they never let him know that it was incomplete.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so Bill, when we have a case of he said, she said going on here, who gets to decide when the clock starts? Follow what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask a couple of questions first. Diana,
Yes, sir.
has he started construction of this fence?
No, he hasn't done anything because of one, he said COVID put him, as soon as he came to us, it was like March 31st and we had started that Zoom meeting and we waived his fines. But then he sent me an email saying we're in COVID and they weren't going to come in and start it anyway.
Okay.
So we were finding.
Sorry.
We were finding him for a fence that needed repair.
Yeah, we were fining him and we waived the fines because he put in the ACC that he was going to do a whole entire, he was going to repair the front and do an entire fence on his property.
Okay, so he's not in violation for building the new fence because he hasn't submitted that yet. He's still in violation for having unrepaired fence, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So to answer your question, Catherine, these are typically the types of cases that if the owners really care a lot about it, these end up in court and the judge will decide, who's right and wrong because there's a fact situation. It's not real clear cut. Somebody would have to review the documents and make a determination whether the application indeed was considered complete when submitted. I don't know if this board wants to get into that kind of detail, but until he starts building the new fence, the approval or non-approval really has nothing to do with it. What does have something to do with it is he still has an unrepaired fence that's been fixed. So I don't know what you would want me to do on this case.
Yeah. Well, see, that's sort of where I'm at. It's like, who gets to decide whether your app is complete or incomplete? And I forgot to tell you that it wasn't complete. I mean, it's like we're really getting down into the weeds here.
Well, I can tell you this: when you submit an application, you have to have a survey plot. You have to have a rough drawing of where the fence is going to be, and then you have to have the materials that you're going to use for the fence. Okay, so if he did all that, then he's well within his right to say, you guys extend it to 30 days, I can build a fence. He lives across the street. I live on Cashelwood Cove. He lives on Cashelwood Drive. It's right across the street. He travels a lot. He's out of town a lot. He's one of these guys that comes back to the house maybe once a month, So let me go talk to him, get the whole story, and then can we delay this? Can we delay this till next month?
He is not the one pushing this. It is the Valente
Well, I'll talk
Hills
to Sabrina
HOA.
too.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Sabrina.
My impression is that we don't have an issue until he starts actually building it, right, Bill?
Yeah, well, we had a remaining issue, which is we have a fence in disrepair. But as far as whether you have approval or not, it's only related to construction. He hasn't started it.
Well, if he didn't include a survey or whatever,
He
then
did.
it is he did. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So the other thing I'm concerned about is that we have dual enforcement mechanisms. We're enforcing in Valenti Hills, and so is the HOA. And so they have chosen to kick it over to us, and that I'm reluctant to put us in a position where we have to act as judge and jury over whether this guy properly submitted, was it really in for 30 days? And Bill, I'm reluctant for us to go there.
Yeah, that's sort of where I am. I sort of see this as sort of a real.
No, it was February, short month, and I was, it could have, if it would have been March, like 5th or 6th, but they didn't notify him until like April 6th that it had been denied. So it was way past 30 days. It was close to 60.
Okay.
That house is located, it's one of the few homes that runs along Cashaward Drive, and the back of it is to that mini park, that little park that we have back there. So I'm wondering if that's the fence he wants to build, the one that'll look out to the playground.
And I
think
could understand from the
Let me
HOA
try to reach out to him, see if I can get a hold of him, talk to him personally.
I didn't hear you,
Having
Jimmy. Say
back
it again.
into that park makes a difference.
Okay, so is this a neighbor who is sometimes clothing optional?
That has been the report.
Okay, well that explains a lot then.
We have yet to see it. I mean, we have not
Yeah,
seen
I was about to ask that, Captain.
fashion.
Yeah, clothing optional with a wrought iron fence next to a park. I'm thinking that's not a good combination.
That's not a good combination, so, okay.
Okay.
So,
And that might be the reason,
Yes.
You don't know that end of the story, so.
Yeah, the rest of the story. That's the rest of the story.
You know what they say, there's her, his, and the truth.
so Art is going to talk to Sabrina and
Yeah, I'll reach out to Sabrina, and I'll reach out to him too. In fact,
Okay.
if it's, we get off this meeting, I'll walk across, see if he's there.
Okay.
alrighty. And then what do you want Sage to do on this?
I think you should wait. I think we're gonna go be in a holding pattern until we have,
Yeah, let's defer this.
yes, his side, her side, and then the truth, and we get to the rest of the story.
I think if
Art, I will email you all the paperwork and the forms that he sent me and the receipts.
Okay, thank you.
And he did, he reached out to us because he said that he had not been able to get a hold of Sabrina at the time. So that's why he just reached out to us, like, can you all give me any information where my project's at? And we didn't have any of that. So we brought it to the board.
Well, I'm hoping that he can get a hold of Sabrina, because this is a total HOA thing and not anything to do with the mud, in my opinion.
Well,
yeah, that's the way.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
my
I
thinking
agree.
too.
I
Is it-
agree.
If he starts building the fence, I think you might want to get the word back to the DRC that he's starting to build a fence, because then I think that will be the time when we have to decide to get involved or not. And I agree with Jen. This is this looks like to me this is something between this guy and the HOA. And,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
A lot of
Typically,
it could stem from issues that we're not aware of.
yeah.
The naked truth,
And typically, the HOA has a great deal of leverage over the owner. That is to say, if the owner doesn't agree and the HOA really presses, the owner, one of the few recourses the owner has is to go to court. And most people can't afford to do that. So that leads to a decision that's enforced by default because the resident can't afford to go to court.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all I have on fencing. I'm going to move on to the next thing if y'all are ready.
Okay.
So we had, in June, going in, getting ready for the 4th of July, there were a lot of boats out. People were preparing to go camping out to the lake, you know, fishing trips. So there were several boats reported. And instead of, since we're on pandemic protocol, Jimmy just met with everybody,
Socially distanced.
socially distanced with his mask. And we went ahead and gave everybody our little text trailer boat card so they can let us know when if the boat was going to come back and how long it was going to be there. We just reached out to neighbors, made the connection, and they really seemed to like that a lot. And we got a lot of positive feedback. If the boat came back for a day or two while they rinsed it out to prep it to put it back in storage, they would just text us and say, we're here. It's only going to be here for this amount of time and it'll be gone. And when we went out on the last tour after the 4th of July, we were down to two boats. So,
and in both cases, able to connect with the owners because their garage was open, and when they realized I wasn't so close to the door, came out to visit, and it worked well.
okay. So that's where we were on boats. The unregistered vehicles, we have, one of them is in legal. It's the Tierra Blanco one. And we've had new pictures and I've already sent them all to Bill. We have one other one that was appealed, and both the husband and wife are on disability and have not been able to get to the county courthouse or wherever you get the thing to get the tags. They haven't been able to get the tags. So we have that one still out there. We already.
Let me make a comment. We're going to have, at some point, this is going to become a problem. That we're going to have lots of people who are not able to get their tags done because government has been closed. I mean, if you want to get a driver's license right now, the earliest appointment with the DRV is something like the second week of November. So this is going to start popping up is we're going to start having problems with, it's not that I don't want to, it's like I can't get there. It's like,
Yes.
Yeah. So,
and they have already appealed and we have already waived their fines. I just want to let you know that the car is still there and it's unregistered so that we don't get accused of not recording those. We do have one unregistered vehicle in Valente Hills that fell into that weird wording on their CCRs. So we took the picture, we sent it back to Community Connect, and they're going to deal with it for now.
I thought we were not doing overnight parking in Valente, that they do it.
This is not overnight parking. This is the day tour, and the unregistered car was in
I see, yeah.
the street in front of the property. But we are not doing overnight parking in Valente right now. So we had so many unregistered vehicles and we're down to 3. One is in legal, one has already been appealed, and the other one is on Community Connect's plate. So basically, we're doing good. We're eliminating all those unregistered cars. Overnight parking has been generally positive. Chris Rocco called and said he had a resident comment. You weren't. It was at the last meeting, but Chris wasn't here at the last meeting. I don't know if he wants to add anything to it. We do have some numbers in the Hunters Glen area. They've gone up during the pandemic. It's the same people. We already know who they are, and they're aware that there is no fines going on right now. So they are continuing to park in the street. All we can do is keep talking to them and ask them to move the cars. Some of them are, some of them are not. Let me see, yards. We had 2 yards reported in June and then 2 yards observed. We sent friendly notices. We not only that, we also Jimmy got down and checked with the residents, made sure everything was okay. If they needed assistance with the yard, we tried to, hook them up with a landscaper or someone that could come and assist them to get their yards taken care of. All but one was taken care of when we went on the July tour. And I think that one's just going to take a little more time because the hedging in the yard has come out into the street and it's going to take some work. The report of the livestock, the owner is back on the property. Jimmy met with him this last tour. The constable was following up on the different issues at that house and was going to follow up with the livestock department within the sheriff's department. And we have not heard back from Constable Tijerina on that yet.
So when I met with him, he was cleaning up, but the property was a mess. He did make a promise that it would be much different in 2 days, and I happened to be in the area 2 days later. It was cleaned up, and the reason I was in the area was for nothing charged to y'all. I just happened to be in the area, and he did what he said. It was very clean.
Actually, we're dropping off packets.
We're dropping off packets.
The follow-up on the poultry. It's not on your June summary because it didn't happen in June. It happened in July, this past week. The owners of the chickens just called about 45 minutes before this meeting started.
Really?
They will be calling in Wednesday's meeting to address the board. And they just had some concerns and they want to ask some questions of the board regarding their chickens. So they did get their friendly, they got their notice. They're now aware that chickens are not allowed. One of the things that we started was documenting the trash cans at the curb and the ones left at the street. We have a new form that we're working with Infomark on. We've done 3 reports so far, and we're submitting that to Infomark in real time so that they can contact Waste Management and get those cans taken care of. We actually did have one person email about a broken can today, so that's good because they emailed straight to Infomark, not to us. And let me see.
On a night drive this last time, we were asked to keep an eye open just in our passing. We had 3 streetlights out. Those were all reported. On our next tour next week, we'll see if they've been repaired. Infomark did call Pete Pernalis, so they are aware of it, and hopefully we can get all of those corrected. The areas that were reported were very dark, so it will help a lot safety-wise.
Well, you're being really optimistic.
I
If you
am.
think-
I am
yeah,
very
if
optimistic.
it's only going to take 2 weeks for those lights, because how long was that light at Old Mill and Sunchase out? 6 months? How many people reported it, strobing?
Well, they have no doubt, because the poll numbers were given to them and the exact locations. If they try to come back and tell us different, I know what to call them.
Good.
We had, we usually do not do Lakeline Oaks on our day tours, but we will be going out on Wednesday just to see how the trash can situation is in Lakeline Oaks. And that is from a directive from the committee. So I just want to let you all know that we will be going out this Wednesday, and then we will forward any information that we come up with to Infomark.
Yeah, and I emailed the Lakeline Oaks HOA guy, I think his name's Andy, and then included Hillary, who's on the HOA board, to tell her that you would be making day tours just to be looking at what's going on with the trash cans.
Good. Trailers, They're also, I mean, a lot of people are still doing landscaping. So we've had trailers in and out, dumpsters. Also, there's several projects. The numbers are coming down. Pods, we have two pods on Hatch. We did get to meet with the owner this past week, and
She's hoping to have them both gone by the 1st. And when I reminded her last time we visited with a board member she was having a memory issue, but she did remember. So it has been months. She does have some cognitive issues that we're working through, but with the heat, we're hoping to have both of them gone by the end of the month.
Okay, so she's made a commitment that it's time that she's going to get those done because they've been there a long time.
Yeah, she's in the final stages of the interior remodel.
Renovation. Okay.
The other pods that we have spotted here and there, we send them their courtesy letter, and they're usually gone by the second tour. These are the only two pods that have stayed there for a long period of time. We sent them their first friendly in January.
And these are two pods in the same driveway, correct?
That's
Yes.
correct.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
had two pods in a trailer. The trailer has since been moved, but the two
Okay.
pods are there. And hopefully,
Hopefully soon they're gone.
hopefully soon.
Okay.
We did have 16 friendlies go out on those trailers. 2 of those have been sent to legal. And so they're in the fine stage, and Bill's working on those.
And it's because they were there before.
Yeah, they were there before COVID.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So other than that, we did have 3 new reports that we forwarded to the constable for stalking, trespassing, and theft. And then we had 2 reports of harassment submitted, neighbor on neighbor. So.
Okay. So can you expand on this stalking, trespassing, and theft? What are you referring to?
The stalking and theft came from the same person. They claim that they have been putting out real estate signs on their property that they're trying to sell. And can I say who they allege? They know who they think they know who's stealing their signs.
Is this
And that person has been approaching them and talking to them. And her words were, he's been stalking me for the last 2 months.
Is this
She
section?
does not want to file charges because she's afraid of this person, and she just wants her signs back.
Is this
So,
section, are we talking about section 1, the problem we've been having?
No.
no.
This is the realtor whose signs are being stolen.
I don't think you should say his name. I really don't.
Okay. Well, that's why I didn't want to say the name, but the person filing the complaint or the person that she's complaining about. But she does want her signs back because she says they're expensive, and she pretty much said that he has been stalking her for 2 months.
Okay. So,
They are expensive.
this is just bizarre.
Has this woman called the sheriff?
No, she said she didn't want to call the sheriff because she's afraid of retaliation.
Well, if people don't take care of themselves, we can't help them.
I
know.
understand that, but she just wanted to call us and let us know, I guess.
We have no authority. She has to call the police
Yeah.
authority.
Yes, I agree.
I-
If she calls back, please encourage her to, stand up for herself and call the police.
I have, but
Okay.
I will continue to do so.
I run into that regularly. I have situations in the neighborhood that occur regularly where someone will complain, oh, that person has 5 dogs, they're only allowed to have 2. And I always say, if you call for deed restrictions and file a complaint, I'll make sure that I follow up to make sure it happens. And then they'll say, well, I don't want to get in trouble with my neighbor. And my answer always is, well, it's up to you. If you don't do anything, I'm not going to do anything.
Yes, sir. So, but she wanted the board to know that she wants her signs back. So I have relayed the message. The other one was a trespassing report having to do with that back area behind Spider Lily. And then Luis, you have been speaking to the resident. Do you want to add more to that?
Yes, what I was able to find out is that the person who was trespassing maintained that the property in that right of way did not belong to the property owners, belonged to the MUD. That person got that information from one of our perennial complainers. And the fact is that we know that that property belongs to the property owners whose back fence go onto that right of way. And what I think we're going to have to do is to put some kind of a notice on the website informing people that if they don't realize that property does belong to them, and they have the right to deter people from trespassing. In this case, this man called the sheriff's office. The sheriff came out. The deputy said he was not in a position to determine who owned it and who didn't. It was finally sorted out, and the person who was trespassing was escorted home and told that if he went back, he would be arrested. That's it.
Okay. And then we had, in June, we had 2 more reports of harassment, neighbor on neighbor. Things have substantially calmed down in section 1. We haven't had any new reports since June the 22nd. And we did call the sheriff out and the constable went over to do a well check. And both residents seemed a lot calmer, and the situation seems to be a little more under control.
We have still not put up, it's my fault. I was going to put up some examples, redacted of course, of what's been going on with return addresses on envelopes and letters, which make them seem like an official notice, either from the neighborhood association or the MUD. I want to make sure that we have something posted that makes it clear that these letters are not official letters. They're not from the MUD. They're not from the neighborhood association. So I'm working on that.
Okay, so Louis, that's something that we can talk about on the Wednesday meeting then.
Yes. Yeah.
Luis, I also wanted to let you know that this same person that was sending the letters also impersonated an Infomark employee. And we also had another phone call from a resident stating that he had been contacted from someone claiming to be with the MUD board or Infomark, trying to get information about his property. And he has some fines in abeyance, and he felt very uncomfortable with it. And he said that the people, when he did not provide the information, the people threatened him, and he was not comfortable with that at all. So he ended up hanging up on that phone call.
I think this is about the 3rd or 4th or 5th time we've had a reported incident where some persons call a resident, demand information, do not identify themselves, and then threaten the resident if the resident doesn't cooperate. So somebody in this neighborhood has got this little campaign on to try to intimidate residents.
Yes, sir. And that he called, he said he doesn't know who it was because they didn't give their name. And he was driving at the time, but he just went ahead and hung up, and then he called and reported it to Sage because he felt uncomfortable with the nature of the phone call.
Did he know whether the callers were male or female?
Female.
And there was more than one caller? There were 2 people?
He's gotten 2 calls in the last 3 months. This was the most recent one.
Okay, thank you.
So when he calls you, do you guys encourage them? I mean, like, why are they calling you? Is it because they have your phone number handy? I mean, like, why are they not calling the police on these issues? You know, that's what I'm wondering.
Why are they not calling who?
Why aren't they calling the police on these issues? Why are they calling you guys? And like, oh, they're trying to determine if it's Infomark or you guys. But still, it's just strange that they would call you or Infomark regarding somebody harassing them if they feel like they're harassing a neighbor. You know, I don't know.
Well, in this case, the gentleman that called it in said that he was working on his property recently, and he also helped a neighbor, there was a domestic disturbance, and he had to intervene and help a lady in the neighborhood, and waited with the sheriff to come by. So he was reporting two separate things. He didn't know if we had heard about it. And I mean, we don't get the police report. So I just shared with him that we didn't get that. And then he went ahead and shared, by the way, this also happened.
Oh, okay.
I think what happened, Jana, is there's some people that we've established relationships with, and they have our number and they just call. Guess
Yeah,
what?
that's what I was going to say. I think it had to do with the fact that you already had a relationship with this person. And yeah.
And the same thing happens with the trash cans. You know, they see the truck, they see the sign on it. People sometimes just, it's easier to call Sage than to look up another number. And that's okay. You know, we work with Infomark. We just pass the information along. We're all on the same team.
That's right.
We do not have any fines other than the ones that were, I turned them over to legal because when we went into pandemic protocol, these two people already were at fine stage. And then we had one that I reported that has been in the system for a while. It's also on Bill's list on a truck for overnight parking. And we have no appeals because we haven't had any fines.
Okay. Okay, so is that the end of your report?
That's the end of mine. That's all I got. Unless you all have questions on something.
Do we have any questions about the report?
I have
Not
some,
me.
I think they've been taken care of.
Okay, so I'm going to jump into agenda item 2, online postings. Do we have anybody who wanted to make make any statements about online postings, inaccurate, misleading statements?
Catherine, before we go on, I have a question for the second. Unregistered vehicles. Do you know whether any one of those unregistered vehicles are the vehicles that Linda Favre was talking about in her comments? Does that ring a bell?
No, we've already we've talked about that truck over and over and over. And I don't know, do y'all want us to bring it back up? We can go there again if we need to.
No, I think we've covered it. I just keep seeing that horse beat to death every time we have comments. And it's getting kind of tiring.
Okay. On agenda item 2, online postings, inaccurate or misleading site names, etc. Do we have anything to under that agenda item?
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
I'd like to make a comment to the residents who are watching. When we post these meetings on video, people get a chance to see what goes on. And I'd like to point out that for over 2 years, we have had very aggressive comments about criminality and corruption, and yet nothing ever happens. If there were really criminality or corruption, some people would have been arrested. There'd have been some kind of legal action. And of course, there has been none. But there is an effect. There is an effect. And that effect is that the constant concentration on allegation, criminality, and corruption, most people ignore it. Most people think that those people are just crazy. But some people drink the Kool-Aid. And I have been experiencing what has become the weaponization of David Flores. And what has happened is that I now have a sheriff's criminal trespass warning against David Flores coming onto my property. I have another report to the sheriff when David Flores encountered me in the park and started throwing rocks at me, and I called the police about that. Recently, he walked past my house, although he had the criminal trespass warning, and started photographing some guests that were at my house. I wasn't here. And what we have here is the weaponization of a person who is vulnerable to that kind of talk. And that weaponization, the person responsible is Linda Favre. And I want to say publicly here to the people who might be watching this and to Linda, that Linda, if I have been threatened by this man. If he hurts me, if he does anything to me, the substantial resources that are available to me and my family will come down on you like a ton of bricks. And that's not a threat, that's a promise. And I'm making it publicly because Linda Faub has turned this man into a weapon, and he is relentlessly being aggressive toward me personally. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Louis. Okay, agenda item 4, pending appeals of fines, and we don't have anything there. Agenda item 5, resolution regarding non-enforcement of deed restrictions related to certain signs in the district.
Okay. So I'll give a brief introduction, reminder, then the DRC members might want to comment. It was raised previously that perhaps, given the current circumstances, health circumstances, political circumstances, that there are going to be a number of signs in the neighborhoods which would violate the deed restrictions, but the board, at least the DRC level, wanted to consider making exceptions so that people can express themselves. Some examples are just political statements. Some are celebrations, birthday celebrations, graduation celebrations. People can't get together, so they have sometimes large signs on their property for a short period of time celebrating things. And so the way we approached this at the DRC level was to try to describe the types of signs, not the content, but the size, location of the signs, in an effort to make an exception given the circumstances. So in your packet, there's a revised version that's attached to the invite, revised by DRC. It's fairly simple cover resolution. The attachment is the key, is how we describe these signs that we want to not enforce against. And I'll leave it there. Maybe Catherine and Lewis, you might want to add something.
Well, I wanted to make ask a question, because in her public comment, Sarah Teal alleges that by passing this resolution, we are somehow changing the deed restrictions. So I want you to address the allegations that that she's alleging that we are exceeding the rules that have been granted to us by the power to enforce deed restrictions.
Okay. So for years now, and Lewis has said this more than I have, is this board does not have the power to actually change the deed restrictions or create new deed restrictions. But we do have the authority to enforce. We're not obligated to enforce all restrictions. One exception is if we deem that it doesn't have an adverse impact on property values, then we can decide not to enforce against that restriction. In this case, most of the neighborhoods have pretty restrictive sign regulations. There's only a few types of signs that you can have. So the restriction is signs are prohibited. We're not creating more restrictions. What we're doing is looking at non-enforcement. So I disagree with what Ms. Teal said.
Okay.
Let's add that the example Ms. Teal gave was that we could, if we do this, we could enforce what color paint can be used on a house, etc. What we have done and are doing here is we have decided not to enforce certain deed restrictions. We have never, ever undertaken to enforce anything that's not already a deed restriction. The only thing we have ever done is to decide not to enforce certain deed restrictions. And this goes all the way back to around 2000, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, I think it was around 2007 or 8, when we had a change in our culture where a lot of people were using motorcycles to go to work, and motorcycles are expressly prohibited from being in view on the deed restrictions. And we decided not to enforce that restriction because people needed their motorcycles. That was a case where we decided not to enforce. We didn't invent a new restriction, nor would we. Bill, did I miss something on that?
Yeah, you're correct. I think the year might have been 2011, but I think that description is correct.
Yeah.
But I think Louis, I think the point that you made was that she, in her example, created used a nonsense example that we would create a new restriction of the color of your door, because that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about creating something new. We're talking about not enforcing something.
It was just irresponsible nonsense, trying to provoke residents to be suspicious of us. And then let me also add that with respect to this provision about signs, we intend to respect the desires of the HOAs. So if any HOA does not want us to do this, we will respect that wish. That is to say, we do not impose on HOAs decisions that we make to not enforce. So, for example, I talked to Julie Potts at Hunter's Glen. I sent emails to the ladies at Valenti Hills, and I explained to them that I sent them a copy of this and explained that under no circumstances, let me put it differently, explained to them that we would respect their wishes relative to non-enforcement of signs. So if they wish for us to continue to enforce their sign provisions, we would do so.
Okay. I don't remember off the top of my head what Hunter's Glen has, but I know that Valente Hills, I think they updated their deed restrictions that were so that they were basically going to fall in line with the whole concept of the celebratory signage. So those signs are already appropriate in Valente Hills.
A part of what happens here is that the HOAs have a level of authority that the Anderson Mill West Neighborhood Association does not have. That is to say, the HOAs can elect to make changes in their deed restrictions and elect to enforce or not enforce or change the deed restrictions. In Anderson Mill West, there is no structure or provision for doing that kind of thing. So the only avenue that exists is non-enforcement, which is what we're talking about. And let me add that all of you got a copy of the proposed resolution. And you will notice in the proposed resolution that we've changed it. It said originally that you could put a sign within 5 feet of the front door. And we're proposing to change that to say within a 15-foot radius of the front door. And the reason for that is that we want to allow for the possibility of the interference of the visibility of signs by trees and plants and bushes. So the 15-foot radius would give people a lot more flexibility in where they can put the sign so as not to have that interference and would still fall well within the property boundary.
And I think the other thing that's important to really be cognizant of is that we are not talking about content here at all. This is all about placement.
We're not going to mess around with the First Amendment rights of people to express themselves as they see fit. All we're doing is regulating the size of the signs and the locations of the signs. And in the case of large signs that occupy much more space than the designated size, they can only be up for 30 days.
Right.
But no content regulation is in this, nor should we try, nor can we regulate content.
Right.
Okay, so for 30 days. So if somebody like in the middle of the year wants to put in something like I miss Obama or something, they can put that out there in their front yard, or Black Lives Matter, Kindness Matters, all those signs. I'm missing a soldier overseas. They can do that sign in their yard for 30 days, no matter when it is.
No, the 30-day limitation is for the larger signs. For the smaller signs that fit within the size limitation, they can be put out there permanently. There's no time limitation on those.
Right. So the expectation is that, sometimes we see these really large celebratory signs that, literally take up the whole yard with happy anniversary or happy birthday or congratulations on the birth or whatever like that. Those are what we're saying are going to have a 30-day limit. But the signs that are what is it, 2 by 3 And I think that's, you know, pretty close to average political sign. You can have those up within 15 feet of your door. That's what we're saying. We're not going to regulate content. We're just going to we're going to follow what the Cedar Park has done. They've unbelievable rules that Bill sent to us about what the regulation of signs in Cedar Park is. It's like, oh my God. Now I understand why the Republicans talk about over regulation. It was just unbelievable how the minutia that they went into and when they were defining signs. So this is really small compared to what the city has.
Catherine, let me add that we're now, before we pass this resolution, we're living in an environment where under the mandate of the state legislation, we can put political signs endorsing candidates or causes that are going to be voted on from 90 days before to 30 days after an election. As I see it, this provision would supersede that, in that you would not be limited to that time frame. Bill, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, you would not be limited by that time.
Yes.
I never thought of that. Okay.
What if it's outside the 15 feet though?
Well, you're supposed to keep it within 15 feet.
No, but if
If it's outside 15 feet, then it couldn't be there for more than 30 days.
Right.
If it happens to be a political sign for a candidate or a measure, and within that window dictated by state law, then it could remain longer.
That's a good point. In those cases, that political sign, if it's within 90 days before to 30 days after an election, it can be anywhere in the yard.
Yeah. So you have to read them all these provisions together, the state law and the resolution.
I move the acceptance of the resolution.
Okay, I'll go ahead and second that.
Louis, before we go forward, did you want to add to your motion that it's subject to receiving input from the HOAs and ACC?
Oh, yes. We should add to okay, so I move adopting the resolution and add to the resolution that the MUD will respect the wishes of HOAs relative to the enforcement in their area.
Okay. And I'll second that with your addition. We've been talking about this quite a bit. Do we have any more to discuss? Art, Jana, Chris, do you have any questions about what we're talking about?
No, not me.
Okay, I'll go ahead and call the.
Wait a minute. Jana always has some really good thoughts. Jana, you don't have anything about this?
Oh, you're muted, Jana.
Sorry. I'm a no, so I'm going to be a no on this one.
Okay. Okay. I'll go ahead and call the vote then.
Jana, do you want to elaborate a little bit about how you feel about it, why you want to vote no? Because you might persuade some people.
Well, whenever I see like a teenager lives here, yay, my cheerleader is, a great cheerleader, or my kids are on the football team, it makes me nervous, because then I think like some weirdo out there is going to stop the house and kidnap the kid. Now that's just for those signs. Now the other signs, I don't know. I just think, I don't have a problem with a sign being like there in front of their houses for like a week during somebody's birthday party. But for 30 days, and it seems like it's more than 30 days. It's always like 3 months or 4 months.
Some of these are permanent, Jen. Some can be up permanent. If it's the small size sign under this resolution, they can be up there permanently.
Right. So all the signs about, my kid is the soccer player or is as a marching band or whatever it is, because there's lots of those signs in the neighborhood about the people put up for. I'm assuming that they are bought as fundraisers.
So they can be up permanently as long as they're within a 15-foot radius of the front door.
Right.
They fit within the size limitation. So Janet, you make a good point. Those signs can be, in fact, be up there permanently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like them. So I'm just going to be a no on that one.
Okay, that's fine. I'll go ahead and call the vote. Louis,
Yes?
Art,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes too. Okay. Okay. Okay, agenda item 6, report from the DRC on and act on restrictive covenant enforcement. Do we have anything from there on that agenda item?
I think we already covered what we're doing to help with the waste management situation on our
Okay.
other report. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that any, but that's the only thing I have that was different.
Okay.
What I'd
And-
like to do is get confirmation that group met, that ad hoc committee, I think Art was involved, and that you are developing some method for getting that information that the Sagnesses collect in connection with their tours and getting that assembled to convey to waste management. Is that the case, Art?
Louis, I submitted an Excel spreadsheet to McKinsey that kind of detailed the elements we were looking for, to be very specific as to the date, time, whether it was the trash, the recycle, or the bulk. That way we could get that accurate reporting, and it could be reconciled between waste management and Infomark.
So if I
And
understand,
they used it this month. It looks pretty good. I like the report.
so if I understand correctly, the information would originate with the Sagnesses during their tour. They're not doing extra work. And it would be conveyed to Mackenzie, and Mackenzie would get it on a spreadsheet, or someone else maintaining the spreadsheet.
Yes. I think I heard you correctly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Chris, are you online? Do you have anything to say about this? Because you're on that committee.
Yeah, I had a long talk with Paul, and without getting too esoteric about the whole thing, he did not remember his promises he made about the log and the report. And, you know, I said, I know for a fact that you made that promise. I was there. And he also understood that there seems like there's going to have to be some oversight done by waste management, because, you know, he was under the understanding that everything was fine, and it's obviously not. So I think they're going to pay a little bit more attention to this. And I know that Infomark is working with them, and I think we've taken care of it.
Yeah, Louis, in fact, Infomark had a meeting with him at noon today. I didn't get a report back yet, but I will talk to Sarah tomorrow and see what was resolved. They were going to present those findings that Sage identified, and then they were going to come up with an action plan for it.
Well, at the end of the day, what we want is for the problem to be corrected. We're not looking to beat them over the head. We just want the problem to be corrected.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, for example, these broken handles, I was told that 95% of the broken handles, that people would face the cart in the proper direction. The machine will not have to pick it up backwards, and that's what's breaking the handles.
So, Chris, you think it would be possible for waste management to develop a sticker that they could put on the garbage cans, alerting people to that when they have that situation?
Well, it's already on the cart. You know, please face your cart this way. I mean, it doesn't stand out. It's molded in there, and I'll admit, a sticker would sure be a lot nicer.
Yeah, a nice red sticker like they use for the stuff they're not going to pick up.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, Louis, another thing that I brought up to McKinsey is there's been instances that Waste Management has identified where, you know, especially now that people are having summer parties or swim parties, they park their cars in front of the trash cans. And I've actually seen Waste Management have to get out of the truck, either knock on the door or move the trash can so the truck can pick it up. It's one operator now. So they're going to identify those to Infomark, so they can put that on the report as well, but a compliance, if you will, for the residents.
We haven't gotten any reports of the entire cars being picked up and put in the trash.
Well, no, I haven't either, but there've been instances where they have to do that, you know. So I want that as part of the dialogue between Waste Management and Infomart.
Okay.
So I can imagine someone coming out of a party like that and discovering their car is gone and it went off in a waste management truck.
Okay, any more to talk about that?
Yep. I'm
Okay,
good.
so agenda item 8 is bulk trash day violations. What's going on there?
Well, I think that July 18th, they're going to have the summer cleanup.
Yes,
For large items.
and I think that's this Saturday, isn't it?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
From May to
so
June.
yes, so I have some stuff that I'm going to bring over. Okay.
Bring
Okay.
your old couches.
Fences. Agenda item 9, presentations by Anderson Millis Neighborhood Association, Hunters Glen HOA, Lakeline Oaks HOA, or Valente Hills HOA. I don't think we have anybody on the line anymore from them. Agenda item 10, report from the ACCs. We don't have anybody from the ACCs. Agenda item 11, requests from Anderson Mill Neighborhood Association, Hunters Glen HOA, Lakeline Oaks HOA, Valente Hills HOA related to deed restriction enforcement. We have nothing. Okay, agenda item 12, approval of minutes from prior meetings. And I have one of those up. Is this it?
You should have the minutes from last year.
Yes, I've got them. Online posting.
Are we looking at the minutes?
Yeah, I'm looking at the minutes, and there was an awful lot of nothing at this time going on.
Yeah. I'm ready to move.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you're gonna make the motion, Louis?
I move approval of the minutes.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'll go ahead and call the vote. Louis,
Yes.
Art,
Yes.
Jana,
I wasn't there, but I'll say yes if I can.
Oh, you weren't there? Hold on. Let me look at this. Hold on. Let's verify that you didn't say that you were there.
We're not there. I was not there.
Yes, you're right. You were not there. So Chris, I won't ask you then. So I'll go ahead and say yes and yeah, approve. Okay. Agenda item 13, coordination of reporting between Sage and Infomark on fines. I don't think we have anything to discuss because we don't have any fines. Agenda item 14, lawsuits against London Lane and then Tierra Blanco. Okay, Bill, what can you tell us?
Okay, on the London Lane lawsuit, we're in communication with their attorney who did file an answer, and we're optimistic we can reach some sort of settlement. We're trying to get them, the other side, to propose something so we can run it by the DRC first, but that's in progress. The Tierra Blanco trail lawsuit, the owner was served and has not filed an answer, so we're going to look at pursuing a default judgment.
Okay, so you're just going to go ahead with the default. Is that the plan?
Yeah, unless somebody has a problem with that.
No, that's, just keep moving it forward. Let's keep doing that. And regarding the London Lane, what we really want is the guy to say, hey, yeah, fine, I'll follow the rules. We all in agree with that one? That's
Well,
really
let's not go into those details because there'll probably be some other aspects to the settlement. He does have substantial fines.
Okay.
And he has been a repeat offender, so we'll probably want some other provisions in the agreement besides.
Okay.
I just won't do it again.
Well, no, the point I was trying to make is, in the end, all we really want is people to follow the rules. Yeah, it's compliance. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Did anybody have any other questions about the pending lawsuits?
Nope.
Okay. Agenda item 15, restrictive covenant management agreement between district and Sage. This is still a work in progress.
Yes,
Okay. I'm assuming that it's on, we're not going to be ready on Wednesday either though, correct?
it's doubtful. We're in communication with the attorney representing Sage, and it's progressing, but it
Okay.
might not be done by Wednesday.
Okay. Okay, agenda item 16, district rules governing violations of deed restrictions, the procedures and tasks associated with enforcement of those rules.
Nothing on that today.
Okay. Agenda item 17, funding for an interaction with Anderson Mill West Neighborhood Association, Hunters Glen HOA, Lakeline Oaks HOA, and Valente Hills. And I don't think we have anything there. And agenda item 18, answers to prior questions from residents regarding district matters. Don't have anything there. I just need somebody, agenda item 19, to make a motion to end the meeting.
That's a controversial one.
Yes. I
Also
need
move-
somebody to make the motion.
also
I'll
move-
make a motion to adjourn the
Okay.
meeting.
Okay.
I'll second Jana's motion. Jana made the motion.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Have a
Thanks.
great meeting, guys, or a good meeting, guys. I will talk with
Thanks.
you another time.
Thanks.
You,
Okay.
See you Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday, that's right.
see y'all Wednesday.